This video is to explain how we generate our lead lists for contacting your pre-qualified store merchants. Our service is different than most other services. I'll explain why. Most of it has to do with the way we filter and process our data. We compile and validate the email contacts of stores that are pre-qualified for your app. We eliminate anybody that wouldn't use your app, whether it's geography or some sort of technology it relies on. For example, if you're marketing a Klaviyo service, you're only going to want stores that have Klaviyo installed. This is for the traffic boost. It's also the same process we use for our full service marketing. You'll often see services like this. These generic services don't have the data or resources that we have from working with thousands of campaigns and millions of emails. But take a look at the different applications we're using right now. StoreLeads is one of the better ones, but I'll show you the problems with the data. It goes out of date the minute they publish it. We use Apollo, of course, Hunter. Another good one that we use is Tuba. And SalesRocks is great, as well as Find Mass Leads. That's another one that we have the complete Shopify database. And just like StoreLeads, it's static and it needs to be updated all the time. Also, we have the built-with database of all the Shopify stores. Here's a Sales Leads dashboard. We can select the store, the platform, Shopify, if the store is active, does it have an email, how many products, has a blog. There's over 100 different things that we can select, and each one of them have a range of items. That's where we start our targeting. The problem with StoreLeads is that they only have about half the emails for the stores, and half of those don't work. I'll give you an example just to show you the Shopify here. Again, 2.5 million stores roughly. If we were to check emails, you can see it's 1.1 million. That'll cut that list in half. We have other services that we do look up, so we can generally fill in that gap. We're looking at, here's an example of a geographic filter. We're sorting all the Toronto stores, and we have 12,900. If we just filter for email, we're going to lose about 5,000 stores. Maybe half, 7,000 we have left. We would have to look up about 5,000 stores and fill in the gap if we wanted a complete list. Now we've got an export list, and I'll use the Toronto one for the example. We've exported all 17,000 here. A lot of this data is inaccurate. It's static. There's 127 data points. Here's the list of all the different options that we have. The first thing you'll notice is that the domain that they give you, there's 6 to 8 different ways to write a domain for a Shopify store, including the www, adding a backslash. Oftentimes people will leave it as HTTP instead of HTTPS. When we look at these other databases of Shopify contact emails, they might say they have 100,000, but only have 20,000 that are original. The way we solve that is by looking up each one of these domains and making sure, first of all, that they're active, they're not password protected anymore, and that they actually have a My Shopify subdomain associated with it. The spreadsheet that shows a My Shopify. We're going to verify this, and remember, every My Shopify subdomain that's associated with the store, it can have multiple domains associated with it also. Different domains, not just variations of one, but many people have redirect multiple domains to the same store. We use this as a key to filter out duplicates. The first thing we do is check the redirects, and you can see just in this list how many different redirects there are already. These are 301s. This is a really good example. They'd use a .com, but now they redirect to a .ca. This is going to become what we call the single source of truth. We know that they're using several different domains, but this is the one that's the final redirect. We end up taking this list of redirects and we put it back in. We've updated the list. This is what we're given. This is what we update. It takes care of that step. And that most people don't do that. This is what takes us time. This is the difference between us and many of the other vendors. The next thing we do is we take the emails and we're going to verify them. We have several different verification tools. We're going to check to make sure every email that they give us was valid. And it's not uncertain and it's not invalid. We take all the valid ones. We have the MX record. We know it's working. We have another tool and we run all the uncertainties through it. It's not as visual, but it'll give us some feedback. You can see on the uncertainties that we tested, there's only maybe missed about 1,000 out of 5,000. The final list should look 100%. Now we have the emails verified from our contact basis. The last thing we do is run through Screaming Frog. The best way to explain Screaming Frog is it's an SEO spidering tool. It works in a batch process. This one here is 348,000. We can't zoom in on this, but what it does is that we have all the extraction codes. We can find a needle in a haystack out of those 2.5 million Shopify stores. If you're looking for somebody that has Google Ads installed, as well as a Twitter ad account, and it can't be a drop shipper. We always tag those because a lot of our clients either want drop shippers or don't want drop shippers. So we keep that separate, that data. We do a lot of eliminations. That's useful because you want your message in front of people that are going to give you a headache. You can see here, it's taking those domains again, and it's checking each one of them. You can see anytime we have a connection refused, it likely the domain is dead. We never email a contact that doesn't have a working store. We make sure that the store is not only active, but we also check to make sure that they have the My Shopify subdomain linked to their domain. If it's missing or blank, we remove that from the database. These are some recent campaigns here going through. You can see the numbers of the URLs. We always check our campaigns before we send them. Within a month or two, this can go out of date and change. They get password protected, stuff like that. We're constantly checking, and before we do a campaign, we do one last pass through here. Those are the processes that we follow. Hopefully that gives you some insights on how we compile our contacts and why we consider them pre-qualified. First of all, because the domain is an actual Shopify domain, the email is actual working email, and the targeting is accurate. The store is exactly what you're looking for, and our messages go in the inbox and they get opened. The last step I'll show you here, we'll just go to our database server, get an idea of the experience we have and the data that we actually have on hand. Everything we do, we keep track of. Every Excel worksheet that we've created to run a campaign gets put inside here. Access works great with Excel. In this case, these are all the emails that we verified that are valid for Shopify stores. There's about 2.5 million in this table. We keep track of every campaign that we run. If we need data, we can just run our own query and get the same data. Actually, we have better data than Store Leads and all the other packages that we subscribe to. The only reason we subscribe to them is to get the latest data without having to rescrape Google. We keep track of the mailbox status. Here's this one's uncertain. This one, 2.7 million. The data is at our fingertips if we need it. These are some of our older databases, 2.5 million. You can start to see there's some multiples. We filter this out when we do our queries. We have the same email address for multiple domains. If you have someone without experience or not familiar with the process, they will end up sending that same email message and count it to 4 or 5 different stores, even though it's going to one email address. It's the same person. The importance of this is that we run filters to dedupe both the domains and both the emails. If we have one domain with multiple emails, we have a process that we choose the best one. And likewise, where we have multiple domains with one email address. If you didn't filter it, it would annoy people to get multiple messages of the same domains. In this table, we not only keep track of everything that works, we keep track of stuff that doesn't work and don't want to send to. This table here is an interesting table because it's the data that most people delete. We keep track of the stuff that's uncertain. We also keep track of all our unsubscribes, blacklists of emails that have bounced and domains that they're no longer Shopify. We use this and we filter against that when we're pulling lists out of our database. This should give you some confidence that we have the expertise, we have the experience, we can package this at a reasonable rate. You're not paying $1,000. For what most other agencies and vendors charge for one campaign, you can have a complete done-for-you marketing service. This service here is like having your own VA, building out your landing pages, doing all your contacts, and driving traffic without you having to train them, subscribe to mailing lists, build out databases. You have all this at your fingertip. And the best place to start is a package here. If this is something you wanted to try, it's no risk. The risk is on us to get it to work. We're going to get you the opens, and if you're not satisfied with it, we'll redo the campaign. The way we look at it is that if we do a campaign like this and you can't get conversions or users, we'll work with you to get it started. So if you've been considering paid traffic campaigns, whether it's been Shopify in-house app program, Google Ads, you definitely want to take a look at this. If you have questions, just drop us a support ticket or connect on a call. Thanks very much.